loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another new Cosy Releases vlog. So if you don't know what these videos are about, this is a little series that I've started where I take about 2 to 3 new cozy books that are coming out in a month. I string them all together in a vlog and that comes out. So these ones are the ones that came out in December and you're seeing this in January. This month, I feel like we're off to a bit of a weird start because I have a physical book ready for me to read for this video and I have 2 ebooks lined up to go. I'm a little bit nervous about the physical book because it is The Peculiar Garden of Harriet Hunt by Chelsea Iverson. And this is a book I got really excited about because the tagline for this when I was doing my research into it was like, if you like things like The Magician's Daughter, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, this is going to be a new cozy book for you. Except I've then had 2 friends of mine read this, Danny and Leandra, and they both really did not like this book and they both say it's mismarketed. So I'm now really nervous because what if this isn't the cozy book that I thought it was going to be, because I didn't do any more research into it than just the tagline, and you know, that's on me. But when you see a tagline like that reference 2 other cozy fantasy books, like you automatically think, oh yeah, okay, this is going to be a cozy book. No, apparently not. But we'll see, because I mean, even on the back it says, you know, true magic is found among the bluebells and brambles. In the UK, this book comes out on the 3rd of December. My local bookshop managed to get it a little bit earlier for me, which was lovely of them. We're following Harriet, and Harriet is completely alone. Her father disappeared months ago, leaving her to wander the halls of Sunnyside House, dwelling on a past she'd rather keep buried. She doesn't often venture beyond her front gate, instead relishing the feel of dirt under her fingernails and soft moss beneath her feet. Consequently, she's been deemed a little too peculiar for popular Victorian society. This solitary life suits her fine though, because outside magic awaits. Harriet's garden is special. It's a wild place full of twisting ivy, vibrant plums, and a quiet power that buzzes like bees. Caring for this place and keeping it from running rampant through the streets of the London suburb is Harriet's purpose. That sounds really good. It sounds really lovely and heartfelt. I don't know what to expect. So yeah, we'll see how I get on with this one. I am looking forward to reading it. Like, I like the idea of a Victorian society. I like the idea of a little magical garden. It's giving me kind of like garden spell vibes from that. I have high hopes, but I'm also terrified because, I mean, Leandra and Danny are 2 people I really trust, and so if they're saying no, this is a 1-star book and it's been completely mismarketed, terrifying. So we're gonna see how it goes. This might end up being a book that when I start reading, I'm like, yeah, this doesn't actually fit for this vlog at all, but we'll find out together. The other 2 books, one I found in a rush just in case this doesn't work, so I have more than one book to talk about in this Cosy New Releases video, and that is, let me get up all my screenshots of covers, The Peanut Butter Murders by Corinne Holt Sawyer. And this technically is the 4th book in the Benbow and Wingate series, but I've not read the other 3, and this just seems like it's going to be a really funny, chill time. It's a cozy mystery, and we'll see. I don't think it matters whether you read them in order. Sometimes with cozy mysteries, some of them you have to read in order, and some of them you really don't. So I'm just going to go into this and I'm just going to see. But this is one that I'm going to get on Kindle, and I love the title of this. Literally, I saw the title, saw it was a cozy murder mystery, and I was like, yep, that'll do. This one comes out on, bear in mind these are all UK date, on the 5th of December, so I will be starting that ebook then. And then on the 10th of December we have Rules of Royalty, which is a Princess Bride retelling, but make it gay, and I love the idea of that. And this is one by Kale Dietrich, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So we've got a bit of a mixed bag for this Cosy New Releases. We've got a cozy romance, we've got a cozy murder mystery, and then potentially a cozy fantasy, but I'm not sure. So we're gonna see, and hopefully I like this one even if it isn't a cozy book, but I just don't know. I really don't know. From the sound of it, like, I got excited from the tagline of it being like, if you like Magician's Daughter, things like that. I haven't read Magician's Daughter yet. It is on my December TBR, and I am looking forward to getting to it, and I know it's just meant to be a good cozy fantasy book, but also just the synopsis of this reminds me so much of Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen that I loved. I read it earlier this year. It's become a new favourite book of mine. Like, I really adored it. So I'm hoping I can still like this one. We're gonna have to see. I just don't know. I really don't know. And so that's making me nervous. These videos take place over the course of like 3 to 4 weeks for me to film, because I'm reading these books in amongst my usual books that I'm reading for the weekly reading vlogs. I'm not gonna pop back in probably for like a week or so, but when I get my first initial thoughts of this book, you'll be the first to know. For you, it's not gonna be long. I'm gonna have some nice B-roll. Don't know what yet. No idea. I do want to bake a cake at some point. I'm really feeling like I want to bake another lemon drizzle cake because I absolutely loved that, but I would also really like to make some gingerbread, but I think I'm going to save the gingerbread for my 24-hour readathon, so it might just end up being a lemon drizzle cake. I also want to try and make a carrot cake. We're going to have some bacon. Okay, we're gonna definitely have at least one bacon in here. I'm also really hungry, is why I keep talking about food. It's been like a couple weeks since I've made some soup, but the thing is, I feel like I always do the same thing in these vlogs. Like the last few of these vlogs, you've had soup, you've had bacon, and then we've had some like cozy B-roll of reading, or like last month's one was like Tiny Glade, which is a really cute cozy game to play. Like it's always the same stuff, but the point of these videos for me is, one, to read some new Cosy Releases books, because I feel like Cosy Releases do get overshadowed and I love a good cozy book, but also to take the pleasure in the little joys of everyday life. Like there is so much to enjoy for just going out for a nice walk, or baking some nice food, or just cooking nice food in general, like taking the time to chill out and read or enjoy a cozy hobby. Like so much of life can be seen as mundane, but I think they are the best parts of life. So that's something I always want to highlight, and that's kind of what I'm using these videos for as well. I mean, to be fair, it's kind of what I do in my normal reading vlogs anyway, because I'm not somebody that loves to do loads of things. Like I'm very much a homebody. I enjoy being at home. I enjoy taking the time to do all the little things, but I feel like I really try and select those extra cozy bits for this video, which is a tangent that you didn't need. And I'm really hungry, so I'm just gonna go. And thanks for joining me. I hope you're doing really, really well. Let me know what you've been up to and what's the most recent like cozy thing that you've done lately. I feel like, especially because we're getting into winter as in like the northern hemisphere, that it's the time for all those cozy little vibes. I'm really hungry. I'm gonna stop talking and go do some lunch. I am up to chapter 7, page 89, and from this first impression of the book, I'm gonna say it's not a cozy book. It's more accurate to say that this is a historical fiction with magical realism, but it's also slightly gothic leaning. That is the vibe you get from this book. And Harriet herself, she's had a lot of difficulties in her childhood where she was growing up and her father was not very nice to her, treated her really badly because he saw her as a witch. She has this affinity for this garden, which is where the magical realism part plays in. It's in tune with her feelings, it moves on its own accord. It's basically like a whole sentient garden that Harriet has control over, or at least some control over. Something bad happened to her mum, her father blames her for it. We don't know exactly what happened, but you can kind of start piecing things together. He has always treated her poorly as a result, always threatening to put her in an asylum. So the vibes of this feel a lot darker than a cozy book. For me, and I could have this totally wrong, this could just be a me thing, but I feel like it's almost like a darker version of garden spells, because in this one we have a magical plum tree, in this one we have a magical apple tree. We also in garden spells deal with a difficult subject. We have one of the Waverley sisters running away from an abusive husband. Peculiar Guardian of Harriet Hunt, we clearly can tell that Harriet Hunt has had a very difficult childhood filled with different forms of abuse. It's not been explicitly stated yet, but I'm sure we will explore that as it goes on. Feels like it's just a gothic version of garden spells, probably without the love interest in this, although there is a gentleman in here that is starting to kind of poke his head around, get into her affairs, that I feel like may end up being love interest, but not a good one. Like, I think it's gonna get a little bit darker with that, because Harriet is so naive because she was always kept away from people as a child, and so she is not aware of these sort of things, so I think she's going to end up being taken advantage of, possibly. I would say this is not a cozy book. Based on the reviews from like Leandra and Danny and a few other reviews that I've been reading, it almost makes me think it's actually kind of like a lighter version of Juniper and Thorn instead, and I think that would have been a much better comparison to make than The Magician's Daughter, which is a cozy fantasy. And I think that's where this book is kind of falling short, and I'm really lucky that I went into this knowing that it's been mismarketed, thanks to my friends. This being marketed and having connections to a cozy fantasy when it's just not a cozy fantasy would be disappointing for a lot of people, because you're going in expecting one thing and you're getting a completely different story. I think going in thinking it's like a lighter version of Juniper and Thorn, you automatically get an idea of, okay, Juniper and Thorn is not a light story. This is a horror book. We deal with some really difficult subject matters in here, and a lot of people actually didn't like it because of how dark it went. So I feel like it's a bit of a lighter version of that, less heavy on the magic that you get in Juniper and Thorn, but you do have some magic from the garden. Or just saying it's like a gothic version of garden spells, or even just a mix between these two, I think is a much better way of describing this book than how it's been marketed. And it's one of those things where it brings into question, like, why do they market it in certain ways? And it probably could be because they feel like it wouldn't sell well otherwise, but I feel like it does a disservice to the book. You're then getting more negative reviews. So I'm lucky that I didn't go in expecting this to be a really cozy book. I mean, I did at first and then was told otherwise, so then went in with more of an open mind. And honestly, I can say that I am liking this. I do think there is some issues with the writing. I think the atmosphere is done well, because you can automatically, like I've been saying, like, it's a darker feel to the book. You can get that straight away. So I think it's done well in that. But there are some things where I'm like, okay, we don't need to use the same word 20 times. Like, there was this one chapter where Harriet is thinking to herself about how she's always perceived as strange, and that word strange was used at least 7 or 8 times across 2 pages. So definitely in those sort of moments, I'm like, okay, other words can be used to describe this. It's a little bit heavy-handed, but overall I'm intrigued to see how it's gonna go. The thing is, I like a good gothic book as well, so I don't actually mind, but it's not fitting well for this video, I don't think, because obviously this is the Cosy New Releases video. I want to be reading new cozy books, and this one unfortunately just doesn't work. But I do think if you do like a gothic book with a little bit of magical realism sprinkled in, then I think you could really like this one. What I'm going to do is save this to read in another video, and read this one maybe in January and finish it out then. I don't know what my hair is doing today, honestly. But so far, I'm liking the atmosphere of this one. I'm intrigued to see where it's going. The storyline of this is we have this officer that has come up to Harriet going, "Where is your father?" Where we are with Harriet, her father has left. He's been gone for a few months. She has been left to fend for herself. She's trying to deal with the fact that there's loads of debtors out to get their money, and she's like, I don't have any money. I'm having to sell things to try and like just stay afloat right now. So she's struggling quite a lot. And also during this society, like Victorian era society, I think it is, she is alone, living on her own, which is not the way things should be as a young woman. There's a lot where she's like an outcast within society. Yeah, there's a lot going on. And like I say, that we've got that development of that gentleman, which I think is going to cause more problems than anything else, but she's too naive to see it. That wonder of where is her dad? Where did he actually go? What's happened? What's going to happen with all the money and people that are owed money? Like, I feel like we've got a lot of things. So it doesn't, like, Cozy's meant to feel like light-hearted, light stakes. This doesn't feel like that. This feels a lot darker. I'm going to continue reading it. Won't be for a little while because my December reading is full. We do have the 2 ebooks and I don't know which one I'm going to be reading first because I was going to do it in publication order, but I've got myself a little bit busy with my ebook reads and things going on, which I'm thinking it will probably be like next week it all settles down and I can get into the Cosy New Releases. So I think we'll just go based on mood, whether I want a romance or a murder mystery. I'm not actually sure. I kind of want both, but I think I've been reading a lot more like heavier. Like, I've been reading like a lot of horror books on the ebook, so I think I might actually go for the romance one first. But we'll see. I'm just going to leave it for my mood to see. Oh, I made some cinnamon swirls. That was really nice. They're so easy to do, especially because I don't make the puff pastry. I buy that because it's so much easier. That was really nice. I think I've got the recipe just where I want it to be in like the measurements of the amount of cinnamon because I prefer it to be a lot more cinnamony than the recipe stated. So that's gonna have to go into my recipe journal. I've started slowing down on so by the way, if you're new here, I keep a recipe journal where I put in different recipes of like different cakes and soups and things that I have used recipes online. I will test that out and then I'll see if I want any changes to it. I'll test out the changes and then when I'm happy with it, I will put the recipe in my recipe journal. And I'm really happy with these cinnamon swirls. And it's such an easy one. It's not even going to take long to do that page in the recipe journal, but I did want to make sure I got the measurement of cinnamon correct to how I prefer it. I want to spend a bit of time doing that because I also have a lemon drizzle cake recipe that I really enjoyed. Like, I did just use the straight recipe straight online and I didn't feel the need to change anything. I added a little bit more lemon zest, but that's it, and I enjoyed it so freaking much. So I definitely want to put that one in there as well. So I think, honestly, the next bit of B-roll is going to be me doing a bit of the recipe journaling and just getting that all done because it's something that I've really enjoyed doing. Like, I'm having so much fun exploring things. I found a tofu recipe that I'd like to try. I just want to try out different recipes. So if you ever have like different places where you go to for recipes and stuff, I'd love to know, because at the minute I just kind of do a mixture of looking at Instagram reels to see what they're cooking, typing in the food I want to make online and seeing what recipes come up. But that was a massive tangent. I will catch up with you probably in a week or two's time. It has been absolutely ages since I did an update for this vlog. We're now on the 19th of December and absolutely ages has gone past since I've done any reading for this video, but I have finally started Rules for Royalty and I'm really liking it. This is really fun. It's just fun and silly, really. It really is just very silly. Young adult, and it is very much heavily influenced by the Princess Diaries. The only difference is well, there's a couple differences. We've got a gender twist, being gay, and there's no diaries entries in this. So Princess Diaries was written in diary entry form, where we had this young girl who is told, by the way, you're actually a princess, and she then gets pulled into royal society. Also, the lighting's weird, it's a cloudy day. But yeah, so we're seeing her diary entries. Honestly, I feel like it's a much better, I mean, those books have not aged well. There's a lot of content in there that it's just weird, okay? It wouldn't be acceptable now. And as a result, this book just feels so much better. Like, is it a bit juvenile in places? Yes, and normally that would bother me, but this book is just so much fun, and I think I'm just in the mood for this sort of like easy popcorn style book where it's light and airy and just fun and silly. Like, it's just entertaining. But so far, I am up to part 2, chapter 15, page 97, and like I say, it's just so much fun. It's just so silly. So we get 2 different perspectives. We get Jamie, who is our prince that didn't realise he was a prince. So he was brought up by his adoptive mum and dad. He's always been quite happy. He's got a really nice group of friends. And on his 17th birthday, they sit him down to say, actually, you're a prince. And he doesn't believe it at first, but you know, they're like, no, actually we know about your mum and your real dad. He had always been told, you know, they knew nothing about them. He just knew that his adoptive mum was his mum's best friend, and when she passed away when he was young, she adopted him. He tells him about it and she says, no, it was your mum's wish that you get a chance at a normal childhood, but then once you turn 17 you're able to learn about all these things. And his dad's actually alive. He's a king of this tiny little island between Spain and France. He's a bit like, wait, what? Okay then, I guess I'm a prince. And then he gets invited to go over there to spend the summer meeting his dad and his other relatives and things, and he's just like, I don't know how to be royal, I don't even know what to do. Like, you know, he's kind of having a bit of a crisis. But then we get a second perspective, and the second perspective is Eric, and Eric is a prince. He's been raised as a prince. He knows he's a prince. He's a prince of Sunstead. He's gay. His royal family knows about that. They're absolutely fine with that. But they've now decided, okay, you need to get yourself a boyfriend, because he's, you know, these are both young. I think they're both 17. He has been seeing somebody. Like, it wasn't anything serious. It was just like this casual thing. And his nan, who is the queen, found out about it. And she's like, yeah, maybe we should get you an actual steady boyfriend, because that will look really good for press and stuff. Like, he spent his whole life knowing that everything he does is dictated by how it looks. But he gets approached by Jamie's father, Alexandra, to say, hey, my son's just learned he's an actual prince. Can you help him? If he needs someone to help him, can you help mentor him? And Eric's a bit like, well, I can't actually say no to a king, so yeah, I guess I will. And they've met each other for the first time at this ball. Some of it is a bit cringy. Some of it's a bit eye-rolly. Some of the stuff that they say, like, you know that you probably wouldn't actually say it, but it's really healthy. Jamie has this really like great best friend called Max, and she's really supportive of everything and is very much always reminding him, hey, you're enough exactly how you are, which is great, and that is exactly how you should feel. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this relationship's going to develop. 100% the relationship is between these 2 princes, because you're getting both perspectives in this book, and it's a romance. Yeah, it's just really fun. I found myself, when I first picked this up, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll probably like it, but it's not going to be anything major. And then I put it down for a couple of days. I was busy doing other stuff, but I kept thinking about it and kept wanting to go back to it, and that surprised me. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this book. Like, it is just a fun, silly YA romance that is very much inspired by The Princess Diaries, but is so much better than The Princess Diaries in my opinion. I used to read The Princess Diaries when I was younger, 100%. I loved the film, thought that was amazing. I do think this is better. I think just the way it's handled is better. Like, would it have been fun if they were both writing in diaries? Yes, that would have been really nice. So I plan on reading more of this one, which is great. I haven't picked up any more of... It's over there and I can't bother to go get it. Keeley Gardner Harriet Hunt. I haven't picked up any more of that. As we know, I'm not going to continue it in this video. And I haven't picked up any more of it in general. It's kind of weird for me, but I'm actually in the middle of quite a few books that I've now decided, you know what, I'm probably not going to finish out by the end of this year, so I'm just going to put them down. So I think probably what's going to happen is that book's going to go onto my shelves. I'll take the bookmark out and I will read it at some point eventually, but I'm still really intrigued to read that one. I'll carry on with this one. I'm having so much fun, and then once this one's done, I'll then move on to the murder mystery. But I was really in a romance mood. I was not wanting a murder mystery just yet. As much as I think the peanut butter one is going to be really fun, I'm just not quite in the mood for it. The romance book is working. It's what I wanted. I wanted a nice fun romance, and yeah, it's working really well. So surprisingly, really looking forward to getting back to that one. I didn't think I would, but it's good. I really like it. But it is going to be one that I would say, hey, if you were fans of Princess Diaries, then give this one a try. If you weren't, then this I don't think this is for you. But I mean, or if you liked something like Red, White and Royal Blue. Rules for Royalty is a bit more silly and immature than Red, White and Royal Blue. So I kind of still prefer Red, White and Royal Blue out of the two. But I would say if you enjoyed that book, then you may enjoy this one. But just bear in mind it's a little bit more silly. But yeah, I should have held up Red, White and Royal Blue. But again, that's over there. And I've been ill the last few days, so my energy is quite low. So I can't be bothered to move. But yeah, right, that's it. That's it for this update. Oh, what have I done in this video? Normally I write a list so I know the order of things that I'm editing, and it also keeps me up to date with what I'm doing. Oh, that's right. Okay, few things, right. So we got a plant. Really happy with that. It's really cute. My recipe journal, I don't think I would do the recipe journal like that again. It was very chaotic and haphazard. I updated the cream cheese frosting and also the cinnamon bun swirls, which was really good. Definitely, I'm so behind in my recipe journal. I've got so many recipes in there that I actually want to put down in pen in my recipe journal, but I'll get to that eventually. I have got the tofu. Did I say this in the previous update? I don't know, but I've still got that tofu. It needs using up soon, so I'm planning to do a recipe with that in the next couple of days. So I'll probably put that in here. I have been eating a bit more like vegetarian meals, which I'm a lot more happier with. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy meat. I will eat meat. It's just I prefer, if I was to do a ratio, it would probably be like 80% vegetarian meals and then 20% non-vegetarian. I feel healthier and happier in myself when I have more of a vegetarian based diet. But yeah, that's it. Those are all the things that I've been talking about in this video. So I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna do some lunch. I might marinate the tofu today because the recipe I found requires it to marinate overnight. So I think if I do that today, then tomorrow I can cook it up and have that. Without pressing record. Yes I did. But it's been a little while since I've updated this vlog. I have actually finished Rules for Royalty. I did enjoy this one. Is this a little bit too sweet? Yes. Does it get a little bit too kind of eye rolly? I had a different word and it's gone out my mind, but is it a little bit too repetitive, a little bit too sweet, a little bit too overdone at times? Yes. I really did like the first bit of this book because it was very much giving me those Princess Diaries vibes. There are certain scenes out of it that were like, yes, this is giving me all the feels for that. I really like the gender twist, gay addition to it all. I thought that worked so well. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Was it going to be a book I was going to recommend to loads of people? No, not really, unless you're after just a fun YA romance. Zero spice in it, a nice time, and you know, it's got really good communication, so you're not going to have all of the miscommunication tropes and all of this stuff. Like, you're not going to have that. Is this book really easily resolved? Like, every little problem that they had, was it resolved so easily? Yes. I feel like it definitely could have been pushed out a little bit more. You could have had to try and get over things that little bit more, but you never really had to in the book. And you know what? That's fine. It makes it a very low stakes, very easy read. But at the same time, I feel like it could have gone a little bit deeper into certain topics that just would have kind of like made it feel a little bit more fleshed out. Like, I like the actual romance in this. I thought that was really fun, really sweet. Like I say, by the 60% mark, I was like, okay, I'm kind of over it now because it's very sweet. And it just stays that way the whole way through, which is lovely to see. Like I say, those points of conflict, the points where things could have been deeper into like certain political things and stuff, it just never really did. Like, it was a very surface level, easy book to read. Is it one I'm going to reread? It's not. Is it one I'm going to be like recommending to everyone? No. But it was okay. You know, if it's just a sweet little book. Like, there is really not much else to say about it, and it's kind of frustrating when that happens because I can't sit here and ramble on about this book because I don't have anything to say about it. Like, I finished it a little while ago, I think about 4 days ago now, maybe more. So basically it's Christmas Day now, and I have been sick the last like pretty much almost a week, so I haven't updated, and I'm pretty sure the last time I actually finished reading that book was just before I got sick. So it's been a while, and I honestly haven't really thought about it since, apart from, oh, you know, it was fine, it was cute, they could have done a bit more here, but that's it. Like, I've got nothing else to say about it. It's not like it was really bad, it's not like the writing really annoyed me in any way. I think it was a little repetitive in some points. I think some of the communication and stuff didn't feel that realistic. Like, it would be lovely if people were that communicate that well with one another, but it's not that realistic. There's nothing bad about it. Like, there is nothing that I can say, oh, I didn't like this, because I didn't have that. Everything I said when I checked in at like the first 100 pages is pretty much how it just carried on, and that was fine. By the end of it, I was very ready for it all to wrap up. There's like an epilogue bit, I don't think it was needed, but yeah, it was just okay. There we are. That's kind of where I feel. I mean, at the minute, I like to do my rankings. At the minute, it's sitting at the highest ranking mainly because I haven't finished the Peculiar Garden Harriet Hunt, as we know, because it's not actually a cozy book, which, oh, is such a shame. Next up, we do have the Peanut Butter Murders, which I have been waiting to start that until I did this update. Hopefully going to be starting it, I would like to say, maybe in the next couple days. That would be really fun. I'm not expecting anything deep from this, by the way. It's a cozy murder mystery. I actually don't even know what it's about, so let's quickly read the synopsis. Wait, what? I don't think that's 1993. That can't be right. Don't tell me this is another case where it's not actually a... So it did say publication date 5th of December 2024. It looks like this book was published before that, at least according to Goodreads. Hang on a minute. Oh my god. Oh, okay, so this is not... Okay, so technically it's a new release, but it's not. It's an old book. This was actually written ages ago. This is an old series. They're just re-releasing them. What? Oh. Okay, I'm just saying that this Cozy New Releases vlog is just crashing and burning. But this is what I mean, like, I've really struggled to find stuff. It's kind of, I would say, oh, maybe it's just where I'm looking, I'm not finding stuff. At the same time, I found loads for January, February and March, like loads. I have like 4 or 5 to choose from each month. Oh, what? Okay, well, so this is actually a really old series and was first published in 1993. But even on Goodreads from 1993, it still only got 62 ratings. So I'm still gonna read it because they've re-released it, it's re-getting published. And it is really not that well known from the looks of Goodreads, because there are older books on Goodreads, like I know Goodreads isn't around them. There are still older books on Goodreads that have been marked as read by people as they go through it. That hasn't happened with this. I'm just gonna read it, otherwise I don't know what else to do for this video. It's honestly a bit of a mess. So we have the Benbow and Wingate Investigators. That's the series title. This is the 4th one. Following grey-haired sleuths Angela Benbow and Caledonia Wingate investigate the death of a new neighbour who fell or was pushed into the path of an oncoming train. The person that fell or was pushed into the path of an oncoming train was 50. Too young to have much in common with Angela and Caledonia in this retirement community in Southern California. His death does look like an accident, but the 2 sleuths, they're on the case because they're like, we're not sure about all of that, especially when a second murder happens and it confirms that there is a dangerous killer on the loose. I'm really intrigued as to where peanut butter comes into this. Like, I'm not sure, but I either want somebody to be, I don't actually know. I was like, do I want somebody to die from peanut butter? Do I want peanut butter to be the calling card? Like, I don't actually know. Okay, I'm gonna get on to the next video. This update was way longer than what I thought. I have an unboxing video to do, so I'm just gonna go film that. And yeah, this Cozy New Releases is kind of crashed and burned. I had a book that is a new release that I was really excited about, but isn't cozy because it's been mismarketed. A really cute, cozy, young adult romance, which is fine, but I wouldn't recommend it. Like, it was an okay book. And now I have a book that I thought was going to be a new release that is technically a new release, but of an older book that they're just republishing. So we've tried. That's all I can give you at this point. Disaster has struck once again because I tried reading Peanut Butter Murders and I'm just not getting on with the writing style of this book. I'm not liking the way people, especially women, are being described, which yes, part of that is just because of when it was written, being written in 1993, the way things were described back then, very different to now, except as much as like, I mean, I read Agatha Christie, I've read a lot of classics, like that sort of thing isn't new to me and I'm generally able to accept it and move past it, but this writing style, like there's something about it I am not getting on with, and I just thought, you know what, it doesn't even fully fit with what I want to do with these cozy videos, so I'm just gonna leave it. We're just gonna cut it dead. That's gonna be a DNF. Strike number 2 on this vlog. So I had a moment and I didn't know what to do, and I ended up messaging in Discord like, what the hell do I do with this video? These are the problems that I've had, and you know what, they were amazing. You all rallied, you all really helped. There were so many good different ideas and it actually sparked off a conversation about mismarketing and how misleading that is. One of the suggestions was, why don't I just finish reading the book that was mismarketed and do it as a mismarketed cozy reading vlog? Definitely could. That would probably be the smarter option. However, I'm also scared that I may end up DNFing that book because 2 of my close friends have given that book 1 star. So I'm like nervous and apprehensive, so I don't really want to do that for the cozy vlog video where I'm really wanting to at least enjoy the cozy books that I'm reading, and it's not like, it is mismarketed. And you know what, yes, I probably could do and maybe will do a video on mismarketed books and stuff. Maybe that's something I could do with it going forward. I'm not sure. It is really interesting to see, and like the discussion around it that people were having about, yes, it gets marketed a certain way to attract people to it, especially in something that's popular, which cozy is popular at the minute, but how it also leads to really negative reviews because people go in wanting this one thing and it just doesn't deliver, and so it does a disservice to the book as well. I've already mentioned parts of that earlier in this video when I was talking about that book and how it's been mismarketed, but I do think it is a very interesting discussion. There were lots of other options beyond just that. There was, okay, why don't we just choose a different cozy book? And Kat was very helpful at giving different suggestions of different books that have been released in December that I could have done. There was also a comment, I think it was from Morgan, of continuing on with a cozy series that I'm enjoying, because again, I am behind on my series, so that would be really a good idea. Or even just others that were putting in comments of, what about this book that was published a few months ago, or things like this, which then that comment got me thinking. From Romissa, which, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name or handle, who mentioned a really cute little book called Winterfrost Market, which was released in late October. And I did honestly contemplate, because I have this on Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, oh, actually that could be really cute and fun, fits the wintry theme. But then it got me thinking about another book that was released in, I think it was around October time, that I've been desperate to read, that I then didn't get onto my January TBR and was really upset about it, and that's Sword Crossed by Freya Mask. So I think I'm going to do this one. It's still a cozy book. It is a cozy new release that I didn't manage to get to. It is a book I've been wanting to read ever since I saw it was out. It's also a book that like I said, I didn't get onto my January TBR, so I'm not going to be reading it until like February at the earliest, which was just really upsetting. And I was like, I really want to read this now. And then when Romissa came up with that comment of, what about a book from a previous month release date? Perfect, great idea. I'm just going to do it with a book that I've been super excited to read, which is this one. You should still check out Winterfrost Market because it is so cute. I started reading a few pages of that. I think it is really cute and adorable. It's definitely going to be a book that I read probably next year Christmas time is what I'm thinking, maybe on the run up to Christmas, I think. But that's a really nice book and it is a bit underrated, so definitely give that one a look if you're interested. This one is one I'm so excited. So this is what we're gonna do. So this vlog is crashed and burned on what it was meant to be, but we are at least going to be reading a second cozy book, and this one is a cozy fantasy romance, which I love. And we are following Matanesh J, heir to his family's struggling business, needs his arranged marriage to go off without a hitch. But if he's to successfully restore his house fortunes, Matty must first hire a swordsman to defend him against any sword challenges at the altar. Unfortunately, the only duelist he can afford is a part-time con artist and full-time charming menace, Luca Pierre. All Luca wants to do is make some easy money and forget the crime he committed in his hometown. He didn't plan on being blackmailed into giving sword lessons to a chronically responsible and inconveniently handsome wool merchant like Matty. It sounds like it's going to be so fun and adorable, and I know I love Freya Moss writing because I adored the Binding trilogy, which starts with A Marvelous Light. Like, I loved that series so freaking much, so I really want to read this book. This Cosy Releases vlog is the excuse to do that. This one is already a mess, so why not finish it up with a book that I've been really excited to read? Do it like that. I think that's the best thing I can do, so I can at least finish on a high. Do I have time to be doing this? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure this video's gotta be coming out in like, oh my god, I did this yesterday. I literally wrote this all down yesterday. I think it's like the second week, but I also need to get started on my January reads. It's currently the 30th of December. I've got to finish my last book for December. I also need to start a buddy read on the 1st of January. I'm also doing Leandra's TBR-athon, which could throw my TBR out of the window. So we're just gonna see. But I'm so excited to read this book. I'm so grateful I finally have an excuse to pick up this book earlier than February. So yeah, so thank you to everyone on Discord for your help with that. I was at a loss. I really didn't know what to do. And so brainstorming with you all was really, really helpful. So thank you so much for that. I'm done waffling, I promise. I will catch up with you. For you, in about 30 seconds. For me, who knows? Hopefully not too long, because again, I've got a lot I need to do. Halfway through Sword Crossed and I'm really liking it. So I am up to chapter 13, page 186, and yeah, I've just been eating this up. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think it is such a cute little romance book. Now, couple things that I'm going to say. First of all, I do think I prefer the Binding series, so the series that starts off with A Marvelous Light. I think I prefer that series just because plot-wise is a little bit more engaging, because you've got a murder mystery plotline going on and it's an overarching plotline. This one is primarily just a historical fantasy romance. That is literally what it is. But it's so interesting, and I have a lot of notes because I want to make sure I cover everything. So the main thing about this book is that we get two perspectives, which I love. I prefer a romance book that has two perspectives. I just think it's so much more interesting. You can get so much more connected to the different characters when you've got both POVs. I really like that. The first person we meet is Matty. He is the eldest son, eldest sibling in general, of this prestigious family called the Jades. They are very affluent, very influential, and they are wool merchants. In this kind of world where we have a very interesting belief system, and it's all centered around merchants, and the merchants hold a lot of sway over the city, over what happens. His father, Matty's father in particular, is a guild master, so he has a lot of political sway in the things that are happening. Matty has taken over the running of the wool business while his father is guild master. However, they're not doing well, and they're putting up pretenses to be like, oh yes, no, we're still doing absolutely fine, you know, it's been a hard quarter, but actually they are really, really struggling. They are on the verge of financial collapse. Matty, is being well, has this wedding that's going ahead because the bride price will really help them be able to reinvest back into their business and hopefully get things off the ground again, having to keep everything very quiet. Now, what's interesting about this world is that weddings can be over. So if you have somebody that disagrees with the wedding, you can then have a duel where you have two swordsmen that fight it out. And if the challenger wins, the wedding doesn't go ahead. It's really interesting. The person that he's marrying unfortunately has somebody that is going to challenge him in this wedding, which he, is really struggling with. He is not a swordsman. He's going to hire a best man. So a best man is the person that will fight for you. He is the swordsman in this wedding. Now, the best man is Luca, and Luca is our second perspective, and we first meet him when he is conning Matty. They realise, and a bit later on, Matty's like, okay, I've been conned out of like 200 gold. That's money that I was going to use for my best man. I now can't have that money, so I'm going to have to try and hire somebody else. The person that he ends up hiring is Luca, because Luca is new to this. They don't realise it, but apparently the Swordsmaster's like, no, he's pretty good. Then Luca arrives to be introduced to him, and they realise, oh, you're the person that conned me. And so they go off, they have a little word with one another, and they end up deciding, okay, fine, you can be my best man, however, you've also got to teach me sword lessons Matty wants to learn. It's really fun. I love seeing their interactions. You have instant lust for one another. I will say it does feel a little bit quick in that respect, but you know what? There is attraction. You can generally, that does happen in life. You do get attraction for other people and seeing them, how that affects things. Luca also gets wrapped up in Matty's business a lot with the failing wool business and realizing that actually maybe that's more sinister than what we think. Surprisingly, it's quite political in a way, and you see a lot of the inner workings of the wool market, the way it all works, what goes into it, how you make it, I guess. And like there's a lot that goes into that, and I know it could be a little bit boring for a lot of people. For me, I'm liking this book. I think I just like Freya Marsh's writing. I like her romances. I like the way that she is able to take these two characters, really make you feel for them. Luca himself has a lot going on, secretive, but we're slowly learning more about it, and definitely that's going to lead to like a third act thing. Technically, they're not even together properly because Matty's like, well, I'm getting married. I'm not doing that to my future wife. Like, I refuse to do that. And as much as, yes, I have feelings for you, I am attracted to you, I will not follow this through. And Luca's like, but you're not married yet, and this is a business transaction. Neither of you are that way inclined to one another. And he's like, come on, he's a bit more fiery, impulsive, things like this. Matty is like, I have responsibilities. I am the eldest. I am responsible. Everyone else's happiness is my responsibility. And the dedication in this book literally says, this one is for all the eldest children. I really felt that because I'm the eldest child, and I really struggled to get out of feeling responsible for my siblings and feeling like I was responsible for keeping the family running, for keeping people happy. Like, it's taken me a long time to get out of that mindset and be like, no, that's not my responsibility. So I really do feel for Matty when he's in that moment. I also just want to shake him and be like, this is not your responsibility. This is your parents' responsibility. For me, I connect to Matty in that way. I also really like Luca. I also find the belief system interesting. It's not really overly described in any way. It leaves a lot up for imagination. Also kind of just takes for granted, well, you must know this, which makes sense because the characters know the belief system. So it's really weird if you suddenly got an info dumpy bit about the belief system as if nobody knew about it when they clearly know about it. So you kind of pick it up as you go along, which I like. And it's not anything too much. It's basically they've got these like saints, gods, goddesses who preside over the market, and they have just like little sayings that they say to themselves like, oh, it's where Huma's coins land, sometimes it lands in the dirt and you're having a hard time, and it's just the way it is. There's a lot of just general queer representation within here. It's very seen as like, yeah, sure, men get married to other men, women get married to other women, like nobody cares. Same-sex relationship happen all the time in here, nobody cares about any of that, which I really like, and I think Freya Marsh is really good for that. It's nice in a way because the A Marvelous Light series was more in like a Victorian London setting, so that setting of queerness wasn't allowed, and so you see how they're having to be secretive in this world. Freya Marsh, because she's done her own world completely, it's been able to be explored a lot more and just being open and free with it, which is really nice and refreshing to see. So I like that. I think just generally plot wise, intrigue wise, I want to know why this business is failing, different things that I'm not going to get into that we're learning, that I'm intrigued by and I want to learn more by. However, I will say, as I said, this isn't quite as gripping as the other series with the murder mysteries, but I am somebody that loves murder mysteries, so that makes complete sense to me. I'm still really enjoying this. I will still continue to read whatever Freya Marsh puts out next, because I just love their writing. I think it's so well done, and like I say, I do love their romances. There are moments where it skips around, especially towards the start. So when Matty starts going for these sword lessons with Luca, you will get moments where they'll have an interaction and then there'll be like a paragraph break and it would have jumped forward like 2 weeks. And so that at first was a little bit disjointed for me personally, but I still enjoyed it. I could still follow it. But now I feel like we're getting a more cohesive timeline just because things are starting to amp up in the plot line and we're getting a little bit more intrigue and things. But I really am liking this. I just think it's really fun. I'm really pleased that I've picked this one up and ending this video on a book that I'm enjoying so much. I'm still gonna do the ranking between this and the other book I finished. I have a feeling that this one's gonna win just because I do love Freya Marsh writing so much. I'm actually hoping today I'm just gonna sit and read this, because my current read in my weekly reading vlog is the Honjo Murders, but I'm only reading a few chapters a day. So normally I'm sitting down for like half hour to read this book and that's it, which obviously I want to read more than that. I may even be able to finish this book out today because I'm enjoying it so freaking much, and I really want to read this. I'm also really looking forward to having this with some cake. As we saw, I am making a carrot cake. It's currently in the oven. Like, I did my update for my weekly reading vlog, started making the cake, then came to do this update. So that's baking in the oven. Fingers crossed it tastes good. I don't know, I've never made a carrot cake before, but I mean, I've made ginger cake and lemon cake and things like this. I feel like we can do it. But I love a good carrot cake. I really do. So hopefully that all goes okay. So I think a nice slice of carrot cake, a cup of tea, and then finishing this book sounds like a perfect way to end my day. I'm pleased that as much as this reading vlog's kind of crashed and burned a little bit, that I've been able to still read a really anticipated book that I never got to. I do think this works well for like that cozy genre as well, just because nothing is high stakes about this book at all. Like, it's a wool merchant. That's it. Okay, right. I've rambled on for a little while about this one. I'm gonna go check on that cake, and yeah, I'll check in with you hopefully in a couple of days to finish out this vlog, because oh my god, I've realised that originally the timeline of when I wanted this video to go out is very, very soon, and I've got so much to edit and do, so we'll see if that happens. Anyway, right, okay, I'm gonna get on with my day and I will check back in soon. Good evening! I have finished Sword Crossed and I really liked this. I'm not gonna lie, the ending had me cackling and kicking my feet. I thought it was so much fun. It was so silly and outlandish and I absolutely loved it. It worked so well with who the characters are. I had so much fun with this. I then also read the acknowledgements at the back, and Freya Marsh mentioned how this was actually their first book. Obviously didn't get published first. The first binding series is the one that got published, but this was the first book they ever actually wrote, and I think that makes a lot of sense. You can tell not quite as good as the first binding series, but this is still so much fun. I really enjoyed our characters. characters. I really enjoyed finding out what was going on with Luca, and then all the resulting things, as it all worked. It worked so well, and that ending was hilarious. I really was having so much fun reading that. It was brilliant. Like, I was literally just laughing out loud. It was so good. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I've been editing. I've spent most of the day editing this video, and really was a bit of a mess in the end, but I do think that going with this really was a good way to wrap up this video. I think if I hadn't had something like this, I would have felt very disappointed with how this video turned out, and that's not the way I want them to be. I want them to be really enjoyable, because I do love my cozy books. They're meant to be light-hearted and fun and just cozy slice of life stuff going on while reading some really good books. So I'm really pleased that I did finish on such a high. I thought this was so good, and I'm definitely going to be reading whatever Freya Marske puts out next, because I really do love them as an author. They are my go-to if I want something comforting or I'm in need of cheering up. I know Freya Marske is going to deliver that. So this was brilliant. This was exactly what was needed, and I am really so happy with this book. It was just everything I wanted. It worked so well. I'm really happy. I'm not going to go into any more than what I've already said about the book because of spoilers and everything, but I just think it worked for what I wanted. Oh, and the spice. We got the spice. The spice was spicing. So yeah, overall, I don't have any complaints about this, but that brings us to the end of this video and the ranking and recapping of everything. So we'll do the ranking first, because literally it's between two books. Rules for Royalty, which did come in second place. I liked it. It's a nice, cute, sweet, light-hearted romance that is based on the Princess Diaries. I kept saying Princess Bride throughout this video. It's the Princess Diaries, and I liked it. I thought it was good. It's not going to be a book that stays with me. It's going to be one that honestly I probably forget about. It worked for what I wanted at the time, and I can't really complain. You know, it was fine. Everything I've already said about that. And then of course Sword Crossed is coming in first place because I enjoyed it so freaking much. But then of course we do have the two books that I didn't finish. Peanut Butter Murders, as we know, this was originally published in 1993, republished in December. But I was not a fan of the writing in this one at all. Like, I did try. I read prologue and the first chapter, and I just could not get into this book. It just really wasn't for me. And yes, a lot of the writing could be excused for the time, but for me that's not really so much of an excuse, because as I've already mentioned, I've read a lot of books that are older than this book, don't have the same issues. Like, I don't have the same issues, and I think it is also in just the tone of the writing style more than what was being written. That was the problem. And unfortunately for me, I am the sort of reader that if I can't get on with the tone of the writing, I will not be reading that book. I cannot push myself through it, and I don't think it's worth the time or effort to push yourself through a book that you are not enjoying. So yeah, so this was a DNF. And then of course we have a soft DNF, which is The Peculiar Garden of Harriet Hunt. Definitely do want to continue reading this book. I think what will probably happen is by the time I get round to actually reading this book, I'll reread the first bit that I read. I am intrigued by this one. It is a victim of mismarketing, as I have mentioned several times, so I'm not going to linger on that. This could be quite a good, interesting, like gothic magical realism book. Knowing that, I think I will have a higher chance of liking it. At the same time, we'll see, I guess, and you'll just have to see in future vlogs when I eventually get round to this one. I'm intrigued to see how it goes. The first bit of this book was promising. A little bit repetitive in writing style, definitely some things that could have been improved here and there, but overall not bad. So I am intrigued to see where it goes from where we left off. But as I say, it just didn't work for this video because it was definitely not a cozy book. What can you do? I mean, I really am confused. I kind of want to just like talk to the publishers and be like, so where was we getting the Magician's Daughter vibes from? Where was that coming from? Because that's a cozy fantasy, and this isn't fantasy and it's not cozy, so where are we getting that? Beside the point, I do still want to read it. It's just a shame it didn't work for this video, and that is everything. Been a bit of a mad one, but you know what, we got to the end of it, and I have such high hopes for the next 3 new Cosy Releases videos, because so many books to choose between. Like, I've got 4 to choose between in January, 2 I'm pretty sure on, 1 I'm debating which one it's going to be. February February, I think we've got another 4 or 5, and in March we've got 5. One I'm already going to be reading for a different video project that I can't talk about, but there's still 4 other ones to choose between what I actually want to read. And in February, one of the releases that's coming out is the new Emily Wilde book, which I'm actually going to be reading with Discord, so it won't be included in the Cosy New Releases video, but again, there are so many options for new cozy releases that are coming out. I am genuinely so excited, and also then the rest of 2025. I have really high hopes for all of those new releases, and I would love to continue doing these series for as long as I possibly can. There we are, we're at the end of this video. Thank you if you've made it this far. Thank you as always. I'm truly impressed, and I am sorry it was a bit of a roller coaster one, but I hope you've enjoyed it nonetheless. If you've made it this far but just don't know what to comment, then leave a little sword emoji in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you that takes the time to watch these videos. It really does mean a lot. If you have enjoyed it, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.